On the Elbe in the state of Saxony, Dresden is a city of Baroque wonders that have been resurrected since the war. The Wettins were a long line of electors and kings who ruled the state and kingdom of Saxony, their seat, and from Dresden between the 13th and 20th centuries. None of these rulers wielded as much power as Augustus II the Strong in the 18th century. There are invaluable gold treasures, paintings by Renaissance masters, Oriental porcelain, classical sculpture, ceremonial weapons, and more than you could ever squeeze into one trip. Today we share the top 10 best things to do in Dresden so you can plan a trip and experience all the exciting attractions and activities this beautiful city has to offer. Starting with number 10, Frauenkirche. Crested by one of Europe's largest church domes, the majestic Frauenkirche demands your attention on Neumarkt. The original church was completed in 1743, following designs by the architect George Barr, who didn't live to see it completed. Frauenkirche was totally destroyed in 1945. At first its rubble was left in Neumarkt as a war memorial, but it was eventually moved to storage in the 1980s to prepare for a future reconstruction. This was finally begun in 1994, using a lot of the preserved material, 3,500 individual stones, and work was completed in 2005. At number 9 is the Zwinger Palace. One of Germany's most lauded Baroque edifices, the Zwinger was ordered by Saxon Elector Augustus II the Strong in the late 16th century as a space for lavish court festivities. The work was completed in the early 18th century by the court architect Matthäus Daniel Poppelmann and the sculptor Balthasar Promoser. What began as an orangery slowly grew into a complex of richly ornamented pavilions and gardens, overlooked by galleries lined with balustrades and statues. One of many theatrical elements is the Nymphenbad, nymph's bath, a fountain in a hollow enclosed by sculptures of nymphs that are set in niches and crowning the balustrade. At number 8, Semperoper. Named after its architect Gottfried Semper and opened in 1878, Dresden's resplendent opera house is one of the world's most respected performing arts venues. This was the second opera house at this location, after the first burned down in 1869. Semper had also designed the original one, which was completed in 1841. The marvelous neo-Baroque/Italian Renaissance Hall was gutted during the war and reopened in the mid-1980s. At number 7, Dresdner Residenzschloss. This Renaissance palace was the residence for the electors and then the kings of Saxony from the 16th to the 19th century. Like the Zwinger, the palace is now an ensemble of museums for the various state collections. The most exquisite of all is the Green Vault, the Royal Treasure Chambers, which we'll cover next. But you can also view the Dresden Armory, an astounding assortment of ceremonial armor, weapons, and regalia, and the Turkish Chamber, one of the most significant collections of Ottoman art outside Turkey. At number 6 in our list, Fürstenzug. On the east side of the Residenzschloss, come around to the facade of the Stahlhof on Augustastrasse, where there's a porcelain mural 102 meters in length. This monumental artwork was initially painted in the first half of the 1870s, and this image was later replaced by porcelain tiles in the 1900s to protect it from the elements. You couldn't ask for a better history lesson, as Fürstenzug records all 35 rulers of the House of Wettin, from the Margraves in the 12th century through the dukes and imperial electors and ending with the kings in the 19th century. At number 5, Brühl's Terrace. Just north of the Frauenkirche is a regal 500-meter panoramic terrace, looking out on the Elbe from the left bank between the Augustusbruck and the Karelebruck. The terrace connects with the cathedral via a ceremonious stairway, and goes back to the time of Dresden's fortifications. It got its name in the 18th century from the statesman Heinrich von Brühl, who constructed a series of lavish buildings here when the walls were pulled down. At number 4, Albertinum. On Brühl's Terrace, the Renaissance Revival Albertinum was constructed in the 1880s as a home for the Royal Sculpture Collection. Now, as well as containing the sculpture ensemble, the building holds the new Masters Gallery for contemporary works purchased after 1843. The new Masters Gallery is a who's who of European art up to the Second World War, loaded with works by Romantic, Friedrich, Richter, Impressionist, Van Gogh, Monet, Symbolist, Klimt, Munch, and Expressionist painters, Klee, Kirchner. At number 3 in our list, Dresden Cathedral. After the Albertine Wettins converted to Catholicism under Augustus II the Strong to make them eligible for the Polish throne in the 18th century, they set about building a new court church. By the Elbe on the western end of Brühl's Terrace, it was designed in an Italian Baroque style by the Rome-born architect Gaetano Chiavari. The church only gained cathedral status in the 1960s, and was another of Dresden's monuments to be resurrected after the war. In all, 49 members of the Albertine line of the Wettin family are buried in the crypt, including Augustus I, Augustus III, and all of the 19th century kings of Saxony, as well as the heart of Augustus II the Strong. At number 2, Saxon-Switzerland National Park. If you are planning to visit during the Advent season, then the Dresdner Striezelmarkt is a must-see. The Striezelmarkt is one of Germany's oldest and most famous Christmas markets, dating back to the 15th century. The market itself is a festive extravaganza located in the heart of the city's historic Old Town, featuring numerous decorated wooden stalls selling a wide range of goods. When walking the market street, you will find many of these stalls selling a traditional Christmas cake made with dried fruits, nuts, spices, and powdered sugar. Check out the number 1 places in our list, Pillnitz Palace and Park. A few kilometers up the Elbe from Dresden is the summer residence for the electors and kings of Saxony. Pillnitz is actually a complex of 3 palaces, the Wasserpalais, Waterfront Palace, Burgpalais, Upper Palace, and the Neues Palais, a neoclassical palace from the 1820s. The Wasserpalais and the Burgpalais have a delightful fusion of Baroque and the chinoiserie that was in fashion in the 1720s. Today they house the state-applied arts collections of ceramics, furniture, and textiles dating back to the 1200s. The Neues Palace has a museum about the history of the complex and the court intrigue that took place here in the 18th century. Now it's time to hear from you. What's your favorite things to do in Dresden? Is there something we missed? Let us know in the comments section below, and don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to Greenable if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content.